It helps, it helps when you actually, jeez, it helps when you unmute the mic. Sorry about that, guys. All right, let's try that again, okay? So the yellow shaded area is the area that you want to watch, okay? That's where we're going to see a little bit more organization to the severe weather. Or in other words, you could see linear segments, lines. All right, you could see some supercells out there. So the yellow shaded area is the location where right now the Storm Prediction Center and the National Weather Service are expecting the greatest, not only chances for severe weather, but the strongest thunderstorms out of the bunch, if you will. So the areas right now that are included in the yellow: New York City, Baltimore, D.C., Philadelphia, New York, Wilmington. From that line, north and west, all right? So Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, Williamsport, Harrisburg, Hagerstown, Johnstown, Altoona, Gettysburg, State College, York. Again, all areas pretty much north and west of Philadelphia, southeastern Pennsylvania suburbs, a lot of the eastern shores of Maryland, northward up into the Catskills in upstate New York, part of the Finger Lakes region, Rochester, Albany, Syracuse. It's a large area, all right? So, again, that's the area right now that the SPC and the NWS are really focused on for the potential for seeing severe weather later this afternoon. The timing remains at 2 to 10, 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. So 2 p.m. far western counties, and then 10 p.m. everything kind of expands eastward and gets closer to the Jersey Shore. What's interesting is a lot of the forecast guidance continues to suggest that you get closer to the shore, you don't see a single drop out of this. And it kind of threw me for a loop yesterday. We were talking about this because the modeling did a complete 180 yesterday, and I'm still not sure how I feel about what the modeling is showing today. So, look, I'm just going to go. I honestly, I like what the Storm Prediction Center has right here, and I'm just going to roll with it. I'm not going to try and get cute and get fancy with, the modeling or anything. I like what I see right here. So this is what I'm going to go with. If it doesn't pan out, it doesn't pan out. If it does, well, you guys were warned. But this is what I think is going to end up happening. I like this. All right, so here's the HRRR. This is the one of the high-resolution forecast models. You're looking at the composite reflectivity, or like we talked about, in storms past, what the model thinks the radar is going to look like, during specific times of the day. So this is 11 o'clock in the morning. Doesn't have much. Now, remember, you got big downpours north and west. Remember what thunderstorms and downpours do. They return the atmosphere to its normal state. All right, so what you're going to need, all right, let's just suppose for a second that you stay completely cloudy from this point on and you don't get a single break of sun. All right, well, it's going to be very difficult for the atmosphere to recover, all right, because it is stabilized now. So you start seeing the clouds break for some sunshine. Now you start destabilizing the atmosphere again. So this time when the next round comes through later this afternoon, it'll be moving into an unstable environment. But if you can lock the clouds in up there, north and west, all day, and the sun doesn't get a chance to get out there and do its thing, then as this next line approaches, maybe it's not as intense as what it could have been. And again, this is all thanks to the downpours. So watch the sky conditions. What you want to see, we're tired of severe weather, right? None of us want to see this at this point. So what you want to see is a completely cloudy day. Or if you do get some sunny breaks, it's just that, just a couple of breaks, and we're not talking about hours worth of sunshine. All right, so this is 11 o'clock in the morning. Here's midday. Here's 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4. All right, notice the thunderstorms, but notice where they're popping. They're developing in the same areas that just got hit this morning. 5, 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m., 11, midnight, 1, 2, 3, 4 a.m., 5, 6. So if this model is correct, the Jersey Shore doesn't see anything until tomorrow morning. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and there could be something spotty. There it is again on Friday. See that coming through? I mean, geez, actually, I could make an argument that Friday looks more active in New Jersey than today, according to the latest data. Look at that. Again, the modeling started showing this yesterday, just a dramatic change. And the NWS has changed their wording now for Friday, and they've upped the POPs, the percentage of precipitation, significantly in southern New Jersey now. So here's a look at the rainfall totals. When all of this is out of here, you can see it's kind of kind of spotty. But then look at this model, or kind of scattered throughout the area. Look what this model is doing, though. Model has some big downpours up there to the north. All right, these are areas. Okay, bye. These are areas that I've already seen drenching downpours earlier, and we may see some drenching downpours again later this afternoon. Okay, so it's not just the severe threat, but you also have a flash flooding threat. And that's, if I had to kind of weigh them right now, I would say the flash flood threat is probably greater than anything else today. And then strong straight line winds, and then tornadoes. Tornadoes would be on the bottom of the scale. Whereas if you remember, last Thursday I was very firm in my stance on how I felt about severe weather and tornadoes. I knew we were getting it. This time I just think the pecking order, if you will, is flash flooding number 1, strong straight line winds number 2, tornadoes number 3. I think it's going to go like that. That doesn't mean you can't, it doesn't mean you can't get tornadoes. It just means that that's, on the lower end here. But flash flooding could be a real big problem for areas north and west later today. So what I've been advising everybody to do, and I've made a couple posts on social media already. I mean, we've been through this about 1,000,000 times already this summer. So in a flash flooding situation, remember, if you live in an area that typically floods during a heavy rain event, stay weather aware. All right, and I know that's starting to become like, what is it, cliche or whatever, but it's so important that you stay weather aware, because flash flooding, the reason why the term is dubbed flash, because it happens so fast, sometimes within a matter of minutes. All right, you could be, let me give you, and here's the other thing too, and a lot of people don't understand this. It doesn't have to be raining over your area to get flash flooding. And that's where that's the disconnect. A lot of people don't realize that. If you live near a smaller creek or stream, or even a river for that matter sometimes, whatever's going on upstream, all right, that's going to eventually run off and come down. So let's say you're in, and I'm just making this up because I don't know the terrain out there, but let's say you're in Allentown, all right, and it's pouring, you're getting crazy rain, you're getting 3, 4, 5, 6 inches of rain, and there's a river that connects to Quakertown. But yet in Quakertown, it's sunny. All right, and all of a sudden you get a flash flood warning issued, and you look at your phone and you're like, what the heck is this? It's not even raining here. That's because it's pouring to your north, and all of that water, when it runs off, is going to come down the tributary and into Quakertown. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's why I highly suggest that if you live in an area near a smaller creek or stream, something that, an area that typically floods during a heavy rain event, a low-lying area, a poor drainage area, a highly urbanized area, just continue to pay close attention to what's going on with the weather later this afternoon. And most importantly, take every warning seriously. Again, if you're in an area and it's sunny or it's cloudy and it ain't even raining, yet you get a flash flood warning, understand there's probably something going on upstream, okay? And so that's the Weather Service's way of saying, all right, guys, we got some really nasty weather up here. Even though it's not doing anything in your neck of the woods, start getting ready, okay? And remember, if you do live in that area that typically floods, you get a flash flood warning, you got to move to higher ground, okay? Now, a severe thunderstorm warning, this is a little different, all right? With a severe thunderstorm warning, all you got to do with this, move indoors, stay away from windows, stay off of electrical appliances. That's it. All right, easy peasy. All right, that's really not, we pretty much do that during any thunderstorm anyway, you know what I mean? Now, during a tornado warning, remember that just as a refresher, again, we've been through this 1,000,000 times, you immediately want to head indoors, right, if you're outside, all right? Once you're inside, calmly but quickly, move to the basement, all right? Get whatever you're going to get. Get your family, get your dog, everybody move to the basement as quickly as possible. And then what I want you to do is I want you to stream, go to my YouTube channel, at Chris Sowers Weather, or honestly, you can stay right here on Facebook because it's going to run live on Facebook too. And I'll give you the okay to come back upstairs when the threat is over, all right? So that's what you can do. What I would do right now, I already have my basement set up, and this is just simply because I'm so used to this now, right? With the constant threats when I was living in Florida, and constantly preparing my family. I would just have, in the basement, I would have bottles of water, a blanket, I'd have a pillow, batteries, flashlight, things like that, and keep all of this stuff, your devices, keep them all charged today, just in case you lose power. Also, make sure that your family has a plan, all right? Talk to your family. Say, hey, you know what, guys, we do have a tornado threat today. What are we going to do? We get under a tornado warning. Here's what I want you guys to do, all right? And just talk to your kids. This is where we're going. This is what we're doing. Remember, if you're in a mobile home, you get under a tornado warning, you can't be there, all right? You got to get out of the mobile home, move to a more substantial shelter, whether or not that's a Wawa, maybe it's a Dollar General, maybe it's a Walmart, but you cannot be in that mobile home if you get under a tornado warning. It's simply because it's not like a house here that's anchored down, right? A mobile home is just sitting on like a cement slab, all right? It's not attached. It's not anchored down. So if you get an EF1 or an EF2 or something like that, an EF2's, it's certainly not out of the question, but if you get an EF1, that's enough. It's going to turn it. It could flip it. Did you see the video I posted, I think it was a week and a half ago? The cars. Now, it was picked up by a traffic camera in Columbus, Ohio. And what happened was that the cars, it's traffic, right? It's a normal road during rush hour. Nobody knew there was a tornado because people were driving, right? Or if they did get their alerts on their phone while they were driving, they certainly didn't know where the tornado was in regards to where they were. So the cars are driving down the road. Here comes a tornado on the side. And the traffic camera picked all of this up. And here comes the cars this way, the tornado's coming like this. The video literally shows the tornado picking up the car, almost like the movie Twister, picking up the car and flipping it over. How nobody died during that is still mind-boggling to me. But as the tornado went across, that's what it did. It took a couple cars and flipped them over. It took a couple more cars and completely kind of spun them around. I could not believe the video. The video was wild. So, it's just really important here that we pay close attention to what's going on later this afternoon. Let's all just hope for the best, right? This is not expected to be last Thursday all over again, all right? If something like that were to happen, it's just terrible luck because dynamically, nothing is suggesting last Thursday all over again. So let's hope for the best. All right, now let's talk about the heat real quick. Here we go. Okay, so these models, they just keep going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Here's a GFS. All right, GFS has got a few 90s coming up here. Remember, you need 3 days in a row, 90 degrees or higher, to be classified a heat wave. This gets more difficult, all right, as you progress along into September. This becomes a lot more difficult to do. It becomes difficult, honestly, to even get a low to mid-90s type day when you get into September. You get after the first week, and it gets really, really hard, all right? And it's simply, think about it. Fall's right around the corner now. So every day that passes by, daylight hours are getting shorter and shorter. The angle of the sun is getting lower and lower. It becomes a lot harder to achieve these kind of numbers here. So what this is suggesting to me is if this winds up panning out, that is one heck of a ridge to our south that's building. All right, so right now you can see here, we're going to start the 90s up on Sunday, according to this model. 90 Sunday, 94 Monday, and 93 Tuesday. And then Wednesday and Thursday, also 90. Boom. Cold front comes in, which, by the way, look, when you got a lot of heat like that, that front will likely bring severe weather to the area too. And guess what? It's another Thursday evening. What is it with Thursdays? What the heck is going on with Thursdays? And then huge cool down. Look at this. 82, 76, 67, 79, 86. And then boom, we start popping right back up into the 90s again. Again, don't pay attention to the actual numbers. Whether or not we hit 94, 93. I want you to, what the models tend to do long range like this is they show trends really well. Specifics, they struggle because once we get past day 5, the accuracy really, really drops off. But the trend is usually right. So, for example, the trend is for warm, then cool, then warm, like a little roller coaster, right? So that idea, I would think the idea is correct. The actual temperatures, we'll see as we get closer and closer. Usually I don't like to start showing specifics like that until we get, within 5-6 days. Anything else, the model struggles so bad when it comes to the accuracy. Here's a look at the European model. See that? European model showing the same thing. Both models agree you're going to get an up, a down, and an up again as we go through the first 10 days of September. Again, whether or not, although I got to tell you, my gosh, those are very, very close. Here's a GFS. Wow, That's pretty close, guys. I mean, the front end's different. You can see the first 3-4 days. See the euro here? And then there's GFS. So the first 3-4 days, there's a little bit of a difference. But look at the general idea with the up, down, up. That's pretty darn close. 90s, 60s, and 70s, 90s. 90s, low 80s, maybe some upper 70s, and then back into the 90s. So the idea is there, all right? The trend is there for up, down, up as we go to the first 10 days of September. I sure hope they're just all wrong. I don't want to see any more. No more heat. I'm tired of the 90s. I'm tired of humid conditions. It doesn't feel terrible out here right now, but it's not crisp and cool like it was, over the last couple of days. Let's show you, let's talk about the tropics real quick. National Hurricane Center monitoring this guy right here. You can see this little area of disturbed weather. It was it's what we call a tropical wave. It came off the coast of Africa a few days ago. Now, it's in the MDR region, the main development region, which, believe it or not, is not nearly as warm as what it's been in years past. Now, the significance here with the MDR is known for producing some of the biggest hurricanes in recorded history, because look at all the open real estate you have out here. So as this system travels across the Atlantic, it has day after day after day after day of building. It accumulates the latent insensible heat. It uses that energy as fuel, and it just strengthens, all right? Then, as it finally approaches the Leeward Islands and starts making its run towards maybe the U.S. mainland or Cuba or Haiti and the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, those areas, then you could have a monster on your hand. That's the fear with the Cape Verde storm, because history shows us that, again, a lot of the biggest storms in recorded history are the Cape Verde storms. Here's the good news, though. Remember, we're in an El Nino year. There's a boatload of shear right now in the Atlantic. And remember what we talked about with the shear? It sort of acts like a protective bubble or a protective force field, if you will. And right now that shield runs from the lower left corner. You see the water there, the lower left corner, that's the Pacific, northeastward, through Cuba, the Dominican Republic, through the Caribbean, through the Turks and Caicos Islands, all the way out into the Atlantic. That is where your shear zone is. So it's going to have a chance. It's going to have a chance to develop. Now, it's actually fighting some shear right now. There's a little bit out there right now. But even if there wasn't any shear here and this thing rapidly developed, it would have to get through and penetrate that force shield, if you will, in order to survive and become a major threat to the U.S. mainland. And I don't know if it can do it. All right, so that's a look at what the National Hurricane Center is watching. Here's a look at the track. Now, you guys have heard of spaghetti plots, right? So this is sort of what that is. You're taking all the hurricane models and you're taking the tracks from each model and plotting them on one map, and that's what they're doing here. Notice there's very, very good agreement. You see how tight the line is to the right? All right, when the lines are really tight like that, bunched up together, that means there's very good agreement, the track of the storm. Now notice they branch out a little bit as we get to like day, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, day 5 and 6 and 7. All right, once we get, and again, that just goes with the accuracy, right? We've talked about this before. Even on a 7-day, once you get past day 5, a lot of times it's less than 50% accurate, all right, across the country as a whole. So, and this just goes with the trend, and you can see how the lines begin to split a little bit here. That's the modeling's way of saying, okay, we don't have nearly as good of an idea of where this thing is going to go from day 5 on as we do days 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so real tight in the front end, spread out as we get into day 5, 6, and 7. But the general trend west-northwest continues. And so it's going to run in, once it gets to day 5 and 6 and 7, it's going to run into that force field, if you will, of shear. And here's a look at what the modeling is doing. Out of all the forecast models, there's only 2 right now, 2 that actually suggest that it would even become a hurricane. All the other models keep it as a tropical storm or a tropical depression, and that's it. So again, this is the kind of year that we're having right now in the tropics because of that super El Nino. If you didn't have the El Nino there, then all of these things would just become, all of these systems that we were watching would become monsters. All right, but you've got that protective shield, if you will. You've got all of that shear, and it just rips these storms apart. So we'll see whether or not this thing, as long as it maintains a low-level circulation, there's something there that needs to be watched. So if it continues to hold together, even if it's very, very weak, we'll still have to watch it days 5, 6, and 7. Only 2 models out of about 15. I think there's 15 there, out of only 2 even have it as a Category 1 storm. All right, so good news there. And talk about incredible timing, right? You know, everyone knows the sad news, Dolly Parton passed away. The storm, the next up on the list, the name is Dolly. And so we'll watch it, all right, as it approaches the U.S. mainland right here. Again, there's a look at the track right there. Okay, so I'm just counting something real quick. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 20. There's 24 models there. All right. And again, you can see they start to diverge days 5, 6, and 7. So out of 24 models, we only have two that actually show this thing even becoming a Category 1 hurricane. All right, so that's good. Needs to be watched, but that's good. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay, Lori went to work, and I had to make sure Paigey was doing okay in there. She's just watching her super kitties. Okay, so let's do this. It's 7:55. That's going to do it for me. I'm going to have constant updates throughout the day. All right, so remember, you can go to my sourskywatch.com platform, YouTube. Now, we had a big audience last night, and a couple of you said that you ran into that problem where, like, for example, I'm repeating myself, like the stream got stuck or something like that. So this is a Facebook issue, okay, especially when you start getting a lot of people on to the stream. What I've been told, I've Googled this, I've chat GPT'd this, I've even asked customer support on Facebook about this, and what I've been told was, if you run into a situation where you're trying to watch me right now give a live, or maybe we get into storm coverage mode and I'm just wall to wall for a couple of hours, and we get to the point where I'm repeating myself, you run into that situation, they tell you to get out of the stream. All right. What I would do is I would even just get off my page. Just get out of the stream, get off my page, refresh, go back onto my page, find the live stream, click on it, and go back in. If it happens again, I would close the browser down and repeat the process. Close the browser, all right? Open a browser back up, go to Facebook. This is if you're on a computer. Go onto my page, go into the live stream, and try it again. Same thing if you're here. What you can do is, okay, so let's say you're off of Facebook. You can go to whatever windows are open, okay? Close them, all right? And then go back into Facebook, go onto my page, find the live, click into it, and then try it, okay? That's what they tell you to do. That's the only, I wish I had something more I could tell you, but that's what Facebook has told me to tell everyone. So, also, you can go to my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel, you don't need an account to go on to YouTube. Just on your phone, there's the YouTube app right there. All right, see that red one next to Instagram? Okay, download YouTube. And what'll happen is you're going to get see that little arrow glass on the side there? Click it. Okay, hold on. All right, see that? Click that. And then you just type in whatever you want, and type in you actually don't even need @ just put Chris Sowers weather. Okay, and then my page comes up. Click on my page, you'll see the live, click the live button, you'll see where we're streaming live on there. I've never once had anybody I don't know, the streams are different, I guess, from YouTube versus Facebook. I've never once had anybody on YouTube tell me they've had a problem. So if you're running into when we get into storm coverage mode later today, if you get into a situation where you're running into problems on Facebook, go over to my YouTube channel and watch me there. Or again, you can go to sourskywatch.com, scroll down. Let me show you this real quick too, just so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So sourskywatch.com. scroll down. See this area here? That's my mini weather channel. All right, this is a built-in video block, and this is where all my forecasting takes place. You will see the coverage live there too. All right, so you're going to get it. This updates 24/7. This also updates on Roku. If you don't want to watch on a computer or watch on a phone, and you've got a Roku TV, go to Roku and type in Chris Sowers weather. Actually, I'm sorry. That one you got to type in Sowers Skywatch. Okay, so on Roku, Sowers Skywatch, YouTube, Chris Sowers weather. But and that's what's going to show all this coverage. All right, so there's like 4 different ways that you can watch me. If Facebook's giving you problems, you can go on some of these other ones. Okay, so that'll do it for me. I'm going to have updates throughout the day. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning. I'll probably have another update right around noonish. I'll probably go live on all of these platforms. Again, just stay weather aware today. And, hope for the best. Hopefully we don't have to deal with the mess that we dealt with last Thursday. Again, it doesn't look like we will, but it only takes one. And, it's like tropical weather. It only takes one. You could have a completely quiet afternoon, and then all of a sudden, all it takes is one storm to drop a tornado and cause a boatload of damage. So, okay, guys, that's going to do it for me. You guys have a good afternoon, and stay updated. I'll have updates throughout the afternoon. Take care. When it comes to protecting your home, your family, your vehicles, and anything that you've worked hard for, having the right insurance coverage matters. The O'Gara Insurance Agency takes a personal approach to insurance, helping clients compare coverage options from multiple carriers to find protection that fits their needs and budget. Whether you're looking for auto, home, motorcycle, life insurance, or just simply wondering if you're getting the best coverage for your money, the O'Gara Insurance Agency can help guide you through your options. Their goal is simple: make insurance easy to understand, provide personalized service, and find the right coverage for you and your family. The O'Gara Insurance Agency. I spend my days tracking the weather, and I know how much the changing seasons can impact your home. From driving rains, to high winds, to snow, to ice, your roof takes the brunt of it all. And I don't know about you, but I'm not climbing on my roof to look for problems. Most of us don't. And that's exactly why it's important to have someone you can trust take a look before a small issue turns into an expensive repair. That's where Integrity Exterior Services comes into play. Integrity Exterior Services' experienced team provides free roof inspections, honest recommendations, and quality roofing and gutter services to help protect your home and your investment. Before the next storm rolls through, give Integrity Exterior Services a call today and schedule your free inspection. It's one of the easiest ways to make sure your home is ready for whatever the weather brings. Integrity Exterior Services, the right choice. Give them a call today. Forecasting the weather takes preparation. So does buying a home. Hello, everyone. I'm meteorologist Chris Sowers, and welcome to Weichert Realtors in Washington Township, the power of yellow. Come join us and experience the full service advantage of our yellow team. Whether you're buying, selling, or refinancing, we've got everything you need under one roof. Real estate, title services, mortgages, and insurance. One team, one trusted name, one-stop shopping for all your real estate needs. Weichert Realtors in Washington Township, the bright choice.